The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Right here in the SWBC studio. I've got Nicole Hutchison here. That's myself. Aisha Morrison.
I missed my cue to turn.
It's okay.
I'm getting used to this seat. I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
I missed y'all so much.
I know,
you
same.
guys.
Not saying that
Back together.
not saying I didn't enjoy the other humans I was working with, but
Same.
definitely
Yeah,
missed you
no,
guys.
same. It's just, we have a vibe here on Girls Talk,
Yeah.
Boys Talk. You know, it's
There
a vibe.
is.
It's a fun vibe.
Fun vibe.
Fun
How was
vibe.
your shows?
Great.
What show were you on again?
I was on the Players Lounge with Everson, Jesse, and Nui, and it was so much fun. And I learned so much just from the 2 days we were able to do it. And I think that's important, is you're a student of the game always, and getting to learn from previous players is always really cool. So, new perspectives.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got to work with Shannon. Haven't had the opportunity to work with him. It was really awkward because, you know, we've been watching these. I watched Shannon for years, you know, and so just to be sitting next to him was an honor. And then obviously working with Heckma, he's good vibes. He has such a genuine spirit.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the time, you know, getting to know them and just kind of how they. It's a totally different feel. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
They be big chilling over there. It is a different vibe, and not in a negative way. It's just very relaxed, and I enjoyed that. So. But I missed you, ladies.
How was Girls Talk, Boys Talk with us?
It was cool. I had Amber and Savannah and Isaiah, and so it was cool to hear their opinions as well. Isaiah, I learned from watching the games every weekend in the studio, so it was cool to work with him in the podcast setting. And then, of course, Amber, she's so awesome, and so
She's so
Savannah.
sweet.
They're all so sweet. So it was great, you know,
Sporty
kinda hearing
Sav.
them. Yeah,
I love a sporty Sav moment.
Period. Well, dang, y'all. Let's talk some ball.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
There's a lot to catch up on.
There's a lot to catch up on. Where do we start? Let's just start from Jerry Jones, of course. He spoke with the fan, 103 The Fan, this morning. Let's go ahead and take a listen. Oh, well, sorry, Jazz, don't have it yet, but it's all right. We're going to go ahead. Basically, he had his thoughts on, you know, the state of this team so far and the pieces how he plans to move forward with his transactions. We'll hear from him whenever Jazz goes ahead and gets that sound for us. But just right now, what are y'all's thoughts? I know we haven't been able to talk about our opinions in the past couple of times we've had the podcast, but now I want to hear y'all's thoughts on the state of this team so far. What's y'all's overall, I guess, perspective heading into this week against the Rams? Who wants to go?
Go ahead, girl.
Well, I mean, I think I turned myself down.
It's okay.
That's my bad, y'all. I can't even hear myself.
She's leaving you in suspense. She wants you to just wait for her.
Well, I mean,
A sparkle.
y'all.
I'm sorry.
I think
go
your
ahead.
mic's still off.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're having some technical
Try again.
difficulties in here,
I
guys.
didn't press the button.
Is it?
There. You're back.
There you go.
Oh,
There, you're back. There
I
you are.
accidentally pressed the button. This cough button's gonna be the death of me, huh? But I was so I mean, in regard to coming back from the bye week, I mean, if we're talking about Jerry and player acquisition or whatever the case may be, I do think there's a couple spots in this team that you could definitely use the depth linebacker, and it's really hard for me to say just because we're so connected with that tight end room, but you're not getting enough from those guys right now, and you know, with Jake Ferguson, I'm looking for him to be more involved, but the tight ends after that are really not giving you a whole bunch. So if the Cowboys were looking into that, that is something that I would be totally okay with. I do think that if you want to go on a run, it's okay to be like, hey, we've seen Philly do it. We see other teams do it. 49ers did it last year, and it changed the whole course of their season with Christian McCaffrey. So I know the Cowboys typically have a more reserved approach to this time of year in free agency, but if they're all in like they have expressed that they are, I would hope that they would go ahead and go for it and try to bring some guys in here to shore up some of the depth in these positions that you need right now.
Yeah, no, I think as far as where the team is at now, obviously you're going into week 8 of the season and you are what you are, and you're not going to change it all that much, right? You can see little adjustments and changes, and you can grow in areas. Obviously, everybody can still grow. You're not even close to December football yet still. But there are areas of concern that, you know, you look at kind of the downfalls that ended up being a loss for the Cowboys, or just downfalls within the game that were sloppy and not clean. And I think a lot of it is fixable, like I said, but I think, yeah, if you can find a deal that's worth it, find something that's smart and going to add and not necessarily subtract if you're going to get by that trade deadline, do it. I mean, there's no harm in it. Jerry talked this morning about how, I thought it was funny, they posed the question to him of, you know, are you... Back in the day, you had this reputation of being a big gambler and a big spender, and that's kind of not the approach anymore. And he's like, what I did appreciate out of Jerry saying this morning was that he's not going to make a move just to be risky, that he's going to be strategic about it. He's not going to do it just because it's a risky move. And so, look, I don't see what the front office sees as far as the finances or the paperwork or everything that goes into trades. But what I do see is, yeah, there's some holes in some of these areas, in some of these position groups that you're only 8 weeks in. Injuries are going to happen, unfortunately. That's part of the game, and some depth would be appreciated.
I can agree with that, but you see like teams like the Eagles going out and getting these big guys, right? Like Byard, they got a all-pro safety yesterday, adding that depth to that defensive backfield. But do you think that, yes, that approach that Jerry is taking is kind of like more laid back, let's wait and see if it comes to us? Do you think that approach is, I guess, okay? Or would you prefer to go out and get a bigger name guy that's going to come in and immediately make an impact?
I mean, I think you shouldn't overthink it.
Yeah.
For me, and to your point, when you were talking about Jerry, it's like, it sounds like sometimes they overthink it, and it's okay. You mentioned the subtraction part of things. If you're subtracting to add, and the addition and the usage is viable, I'm cool with that too. And again, like, as far as we're going to see it pick up here in the next couple of days, we're going to see teams making moves, and I just think it is better to be proactive than reactive in these situations, because the gentlemen that are, you know, the teams that are sellers, quote unquote, these guys are going to go fast. Yeah. Yes, these guys are going to go fast, and so you got to put your hat in the ring immediately. You can't. This isn't a wait and see type league. Like, it's just not my thing. I don't think that's how it goes. So I really am hoping that they don't overthink things. I know Will McClay and those guys are always, you know, scouting and stuff, and maybe they see some gentlemen that can come in, and again, like you said, just like that might mean subtraction, which is not always, doesn't always feel good, but if it's warranted, you do what you got to do to get yourself over the hump.
I think what worries me the most, and I'm talking more offensively on the offensive side of the ball, is you haven't seen a fair ball distribution to really know what is what.
That's big facts.
For this offense. You don't know who is going to get the ball when. You haven't seen the same form of this offense in the last 6 weeks that they have played. So my worry is, yes, you have that subtraction to have an addition, but who's to say that addition isn't going to come in and then not get any reps on the ball? Because you just don't know yet. I mean, Brandon Cooks barely got his feet on the ground in week 6, you know? So I guess that's what worries me the most, is especially when you're talking in terms of adding to the offense, it sounds great and it sounds amazing, get it where you can, but are you going to use them? That's the biggest concern I have, is are they going to be put to good use?
Like a
an applause?
Maybe that was
I know we have like a birthday song, but I don't think that would do it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess that works too. Okay.
But no, yeah, she's right. Go ahead.
That's what worries me, is yes, you can get an addition, but are you going to use them? Especially on the offensive side of the ball, because there's a lot of key guys. You just mentioned it. They're not getting used. Your tight ends, your other receivers.
Running backs.
Oh, don't get me started on that. There's so many things that we have not seen. And look, there's a long season ahead. If that means you save it for the end of the season, great. But again, at that point, if it's only a one-year deal, what's the point of doing it if you're going to wait until the end of the season to do it?
Yeah.
Well, then what do you think is the downfall, or not, maybe that's not the word. I guess the issue with, is it Mike McCarthy just not understanding his pieces? Because a lot of his success at Green Bay, right, came with him understanding who were some of his elite guys, his elite route runners, how to utilize his tight ends and things like that. So what is it I guess on Mike McCarthy that is just not clicking right now, because that's pretty much what you use the offseason for, right? To know and understand your guys and how to get the playmakers involved. So
for me, it's the consistency in the usage, as you talked about, because we've seen even in the Jets game, the usage of the running backs, like the versatility in how they were using them. Rico doing screens, Tony in between the tackles sometimes, but also bouncing to the edge. Deuce Vaughn being used. Like some of this stuff, you know, that has been good are things that we haven't seen. Even Kevontae Turpin's usage has gone down. Might be because of the ankle. Might be that you maybe. But another big thing coming out of the bye is that to this point is establishing the run game, because that, I mean, the offensive line play. You know, maybe you shift some things around or you guys come together, because the offensive line play, to me, especially when you're talking about the run game, has been a big problem. I mean, the consistency there, some of the things that you're doing, obviously you've had different lineups and stuff, but for me is looking for consistency from the run game, and I do believe that will open up some of the other things you're looking for. But honestly, I'm looking for consistency in the play calling in this next couple of weeks post-bye. You've seen that it works, do it. Do it until they show that they can beat you doing it. Like, do it until until you, and then obviously adding more motion and that stuff. Using these speed guys, to your point. Like, we're just looking for consistent usage of these guys.
That's why they're here.
Yes, why they're here, because we don't want, I mean, honestly, looking at Brandon Cook's usage right now, it's almost criminal to him, especially given the fact that he's played, with all due respect, he's played with lesser quarterbacks with lesser talent around him and made it happen. So they just have to figure out how to consistently get their playmakers the ball, and to make people have to beat you, girl.
I feel like we were asked that question. I think Jess actually screenshotted that question from someone. Yes. I thought that's what we were doing. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. They had a question. I can't see
it was Aaron.
Oh, hey, Aaron. Thank you so much for that question.
He's a very loyal listener, and we love Aaron.
Yes.
We're big Aaron stans.
He had a question, and he said, you know, what do you think the Cowboys need to do coming out of the bye to be more consistent offensively? Who wants to take that one?
Just be consistent. Period. You just said it. Yeah. Be consistent. Use your weapons. And for me, quit being consistent in the wrong aspects. Quit being consistent in penalties. Quit being consistent in the pre-snap penalties specifically. Be more disciplined in that aspect of your game alone, because those self-inflicted wounds, they're going to add up. They're going to add up. Maybe not this week when you're playing a Rams team, which I don't think you should overlook by any means at all. But you're talking next week, Philadelphia. That is not going to fly. I'm sorry. You need to play a good game. You need to build that consistency starting this week. Anything that was good from the Chargers game, you take it, you build upon it from there. Like I said, the last time we were on here, that's a good starting point for them. So to see them be more consistent, well, let's see. Establish the run. Aisha just talked about that. Get your tight ends involved in that passing game. And look, y'all know how I feel about that tight end room. Enjoy talking to them and all of that, but they're the first ones to take accountability. And Lunda Wells last week, when he was talking, he took accountability. He said they're not getting the usage and that we're happy with. We're not satisfied with where they are. And I don't think anybody is. I don't think they are. I feel like there's a certain frustration in the room when you see them, and understandably so, because they're coming off of, a scheme last year that was maybe a little bit too hectic for everybody. There was a lot of miscues, miscommunications, and then you come in here and you expect to see Jake Ferguson kind of become this household staple name, and he really doesn't get the opportunity to do so. And I get that that's part of that West Coast system, that tight ends are more used for blocking. You have to get him involved in that passing game as well. And so there's that. And Dak Prescott, he needs to continue to play well. And that sounds simple because it can be for him, but quit holding on to the ball for too long. That offensive line has not shored up enough to protect you from sacks like I think they can as more time continues and they grow together as that whole unit. It's only 3 weeks that they've been back together, and that sounds so weird to even say, but you got to release the ball. You can't keep taking those sacks. Release the ball. Don't use your legs just to do it. I mean, there's so many things. But overall, offensively, just take your starting point with what you saw against the Chargers and run with it. Literally, run the ball.
For me, it starts, and it might sound cliche, it starts in practice. And I say that only because I'm a former D1 athlete, and it comes with repetition. You got to be, in order for...
Okay, flex.
Come on.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going to be consistent, right, come game day, it starts with the beginning of the week of practice. And I know that their schedule's a little different, you know, with Monday, Tuesday being off days. Then they have veteran rest days. Then Thursday, Friday are, like, hard-hitting, you know, game day, I guess, rep practices, so things like that. But I feel like it's one, the issue starts up front with the offensive line, and even Tyler Smith told me yesterday that it's a mix of the reps, the lack of reps that they've gotten, and the mix of the mistakes that they are making as a line, right? And they're also trying to remember that they are still a little bit banged up, some of them, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it comes with the repetitions of being more physical in practice and saying, hey, D-Law, I need you to come hit, you know, just come full force at me to get that game day rep, right? To be so ready, to be physical come game day. And then as far as everything else, like, I want to see Dak in practices just playing ball, like playing freely. I feel like they are, and I could be wrong, okay, but I feel like they are so focused on him being such a pocket passer in practice that that's in his mind, what he's thinking about come game day. So last week when we saw, or the week before, week 6, we saw him kind of just playing freely, right? So I think that's what I want to see in order for him to be more consistent offensively.
Yeah, I think also too, reevaluation's okay too. You know, evaluating where you are
Facts.
and being able
Speak
to
it, girl.
say,
Where's the ka-ching?
"Hey, honey bunny,
Ka-ching.
this ain't working. this ain't working.
I would
We're not
love to
doing
hear
this
Mike
well.
McCarthy say that specific line.
Right,
Hey, honey bunny, it's
yeah.
not working.
This ain't working. We're not doing this well.
Yeah.
Let's add to this or take this away." Also, too, I think there's nothing wrong with evaluating your roster.
Yeah.
We love us some MG. Maybe Jalen Tolbert needs some of those passes now. Maybe we have to do some of that. Even when you mentioned Jake Ferguson, maybe you just Jake Ferguson gets the bulk of the reps at tight end as far as the receiving reps. Like, maybe that's just what you do because that's kind of where we are. And so for me, coming into this next week, and I'm so glad that you mentioned them being banged, you know, some of the offensive line being banged up. I tried to ask Mike McCarthy about this. I really didn't get a whole bunch of a response, but I will say that I think it does make sense that the injuries on your offensive line would play into what you're able to do offensively running the ball. So one thing the Cowboys didn't do well last week was get to the second level at all. I wonder if that's because guys are banged up and aren't able to get in space as much as they really want to. Teams are stunting you a lot more. So that comes into with the communication and them not playing together for a while. So I do think that this offensive, it kind of starts with the offensive line, to you ladies' points. And if they shore up some of that, and the run game opens up, it will make passing the ball easier and also make things easier on your quarterback. But reevaluating at this time in the season, there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with looking yourself in the mirror. And hopefully, you know, we take some pride out the way and make some decisions. Yeah.
Love that.
I love that too.
Stand direct. What is it? I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the miror. Dang it. Oh, I don't know where our
Wait,
punch
was
jar
that
is.
Taylor Swift?
It was.
Oh, Christy's not here to scold us.
Yeah.
Let's just let it go today. She be getting us.
Just know I owe a quarter. That was a good one.
Okay, well, on that note, we will be right back right here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And this segment is brought to you by the Salvation Army's 27th annual Red Kettle Kickoff returns to AT&T Stadium this Thanksgiving. Get excited to watch the one and only Dolly Parton rock the stage during halftime when your Dallas Cowboys go head-to-head with the Washington Commanders. Tune in at 3 p.m. on CBS. Wow, you got really excited for that.
I love Dolly.
Death, taxes, and the Cowboys
Dolly.
having a country singer for the it's just always the case.
That's Dolly Parton.
I'm
I've
okay
never
with
listened.
it. I'm
She's a
just
goat.
saying that's just
Dolly's the
that's
goat.
I've never listened to Dolly Parton.
I love Dolly. Exactly. Exactly. Vibes. Working 9 to 5, ladies.
What's your favorite song by Dolly?
I mean, 9 to 5 is just like the classic
Oh.
one. But then you go like, I will always love you, and her
Do you know the
rendition is
lyrics to
beautiful.
9 to 5?
Working 9 to 5. Oh, you put me on the spot. You know what? I do, but
It's okay.
now I'm shy. No, I'm so shy.
Wow, Jazz, that was wow.
That was
okay.
late,
That was a little
Jazz.
late.
Working 9 to 5.
I don't know that song, but it's okay.
I think if you heard it, you would know it.
Probably so.
Yeah,
Probably so.
okay.
All right, let's just list these new transactions as of today from the Cowboys. They have signed a tight end, Eric Saubert. Please, I hope I did not mess that up. Saubert.
Saubert.
I believe it's Saubert. Linebacker Buddy Johnson, 4th rounder in 2021 out of Texas A&M. A guard. They've signed 2 guards actually, Chris Glazer and Adam Pinckney. Pinky. Lord, man.
got it.
Right?
It's basically still Monday. It's fine.
It's still Monday.
Basically.
It's clearly
It's
still
raining
Monday.
outside.
It's all right. Just out of those guys, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to kind of go through their background. You want to go through that?
Yeah,
What's your thoughts?
I was looking at them this morning after saw the news, and I think what was the most interesting to me was Aisha, you hit the nail on the head talking about how you needed linebacker depth and tight end depth. The new tight end, Saubert, it's interesting because he was taken by the Falcons, in the 5th round in 2017. He's played 17 career games. Last time he played was in 2022. He has 33 receptions for 280 yards. He averaged about 8.5 yards per catch, and he had 2 touchdowns. He's not the most veteran player, but I think he's good backup. He's good. He's a good practice squad guy.
Yeah.
What I find interesting, though, when I was looking into this is keep in mind Peyton Hendershot now on IR because of the ankle injury he was dealing with that kept him off the field for 2 weeks, put him on IR, and then elevated Sean McKeon. So I think it's just going to be interesting to kind of see where that lies when Peyton is able to kind of come back. What do they do at that point? I think that's what stood out to me the most was, yes, you needed a tight end, but I didn't expect to actually see a tight end get signed to the practice squad again because of all of that. So I'm just interested to see where that goes. Keep in mind that's a 4-week away problem. There's 4 weeks to worry about it. Peyton can't come back for 4 weeks at least. So yeah, that I was looking into that because I just thought that was interesting. As for Buddy Johnson,
Yep, that's who caught my eye.
I could not say his real first name, so we're just going to call him Buddy.
Yeah.
We'll ask for clarification on how to say names.
There we go.
Look, Noah Igbenogany took a minute to be able to say. I had to ask him like 10 times, like, Noah, am I saying your name right? I think this one was interesting. I think this signing was kind of the perfect one for Dan Quinn. He gives very Dan Quinn-esque player vibes, very versatile. And he's an inside linebacker, so he can play in the box. He's very comfortable doing that. He's been on multiple teams at this point. He 2021 NFL draft selected by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 4th round. I'm excited for this one. This one gives good depth vibes. We love good depth vibes, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say Buddy also caught my eye as well. Hasn't played much. I know in Pittsburgh, I think he played maybe 1 game. Not many games.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. But then he went to Chicago. They just released him. But he's got good size. I think he's like 6'2", 240, kind of around the same size as Micah. He plays physical. I actually found a couple of tape doing my little Aisha Morrison work.
Love that.
Found some tape. He plays physical, and I just like how he makes like his presence feel known inside the box, right? And that's exactly what Michael Parsons does when he plays at linebacker. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of adds that depth. They need him. They only got 4 guys, so still.
Yeah, that linebacker room's very thin.
It's a little thin. But let's go ahead and let's break down each position group. I got to do this yesterday with Isaiah and Amber, but let's go ahead and break down each position group, give a grade and kind of an example of why you give that position group your grade. But let's first go ahead and listen to Jerry Jones, who finally got that sound. Shout out to Jazz. He had some things to say of the state of this team right here on 103.5 The Fan.
I am looking forward to
105.
Looking forward to how we evolve. Again, it's going to be week to week for us. But when we started this season,
I didn't catch it.
if you had told me we would be 4-2 at this particular time with these things staring at us, the challenges or the lack of some of the challenges that could be out there, I'd give it. I don't want to start over. Let's take what we got.
So when you see a team like a San Fran lose to a team we think is bad in Minnesota, or Philadelphia lose to a Jets team that you guys handle pretty easily, does that kind of ease the pain of an Arizona loss, knowing that this happens throughout the league?
Well, first of all, your question was when you see a team like San Francisco, that's the loss I was thinking of when I was watching San Francisco. And so that doesn't ease that pain. No. Those, first of all, on our record, those losses will bite you, boy. They'll be there at the end, and you'll wish you had one of them that you could have gotten back. So I think I look at that. On the other hand, what I look at more than anything is how we're playing and are we evolving. And our principally is do we have young players that are stepping up and getting better? That's paramount, and we do.
I want to say I'm so sorry. I said 103 The Fan. It is 105.3 The Fan. Just wanted to correct that. But I mean, just hearing Jerry and his thoughts on the way the season is going. Now the team is 4-2 rather than 3-3 heading into Week 8. What are y'all's thoughts on what Jerry had to say?
I mean,
Oh my goodness.
I mean, he's right in regard to, like, seeing some of these other teams have not so good games against lesser teams, quote unquote. I mean, but that's football, at this point. So it doesn't ease anything, especially too when you start getting into, the end of the season, like he was talking about, and conference wins and losses matter out here in these streets. So,
NFC at least.
I guess, I agree with him in that regard, and it's Jerry.
Yeah, it is Jerry.
Sure.
It's very Jerry. No, here's the thing. I think if you're the Dallas Cowboys and you're still you're trying to move on from that loss, and I think they have. I think they've done a really good job of turning the page, but that should upset you a little bit. It should upset you a little bit to light your fire to make sure you see that team again in the playoffs, and you make your point then. That's what it should do. If you want to have a resilient mindset, and this team does, seen it time and time again, you let it light your fire a little bit more for the playoff time. So, I mean, I agree. And here's the thing. You can't dwell on the 49ers loss forever because, again, you're getting to the point of the season where everyone's going to start losing. It doesn't really matter who's playing who. There's going to be games that surprise you every week. I mean, we said it even before the Cowboys played the 49ers was they're pretty due for a loss. It is what it is.
And you saw that last night, the Vikings.
Yep.
Shoot.
So
Eagles, due for a loss. That's just kind of how this game works. It's who plays the better game that day. Everything else, it is what it is outside. It's who shows up that day, who plays harder, who wants it more.
Health and depth. Health and depth you're gonna start seeing who really has adequate depth in this league in the next few weeks, just because of the injuries piling up and those changing the outcome of games. So I mean, he right.
Period.
Well, certainly hoping that health and death plays
Health and
play actually this week. I know we haven't gotten any injury reports, but
That sounded good, right?
It sounded good.
Yeah, from what Mike McCarthy said in the conference call on Monday, he didn't have anything to report. He was like, I don't have anything, which is good news. No news, good news.
Yes.
In a bye week, especially,
it was quiet.
No news is good news.
Quiet bye week.
Love that.
Very quiet.
Starting to get used to that. And Mike McCarthy's,
I love it.
In fairness to him, since he's been here, bye weeks and stuff have been pretty quiet.
Yeah.
And that's a new feeling for us.
Well, it's
Cowboys
nice too
folks.
because you know that the players can also have lives outside of this, as they should, especially on the bye week. Enjoy the time how they want to enjoy the time, but they're smart about it.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the biggest takeaways of Mike McCarthy's coaching era so far that I've picked up on is he's all about, hey, take time for your mentals, but be smart.
Yeah, and let's just go ahead and dive into this conversation. You had a chance to listen to McCarthy yesterday when he talked about what the team has really been focusing on in this bye week. Tell us what he kind of had to say about that.
Penalties. Penalties. Yeah. He said that was their biggest focus in the reevaluation process. And I'm glad you brought this up, Aisha, because he did say they're reevaluating things, whether it be schematically, whether it just be disciplinary, and that's nothing bad, but when it comes to just being more disciplined from those pre-snap penalties, he said that's the one focus that he wants to eliminate, that they are trying to just hone in on. And remember last year, I want to say it was around the same time, we're having the same conversation of highest penalized team in the NFL, what's going on? And then it was kind of nicked at that point. It wasn't an issue after they had to refocus in on it. So if you see history repeating itself in that genre, I wouldn't mind at all to see the penalties kind of be a thing in the past.
Yeah, which is, it's kind of disappointing too, the way that the penalties have piled up the last 3 weeks, because
across the league
to start the sugar, that's a whole other conversation. But just in general, though, as far as the Cowboys go, I felt like,
the look I got,
baby, because I feel a way about the officiating. But yeah, the penalties from the Cowboys. I mean, I felt like they started off the season being way less penalized. There wasn't really a problem at the very beginning, the first few games, and then the last 3 games have just been what is going on? What is going on? So I did have to take into account, I had to check myself the other day, it was how much they've played on the road too.
Yes.
Which silent counts, changes in offensive linemen, all that stuff, it plays a factor. And so to hear that they're trying to hone in on that, and again, we at least we have had a small sample size of them reevaluating at some point in the season, and that not being a problem moving forward. Really do hope that they shore that up, because it's killing them sometimes with these drives and getting off the field on 3rd down.
And here's the thing, if you're having that balance of aggression and you're trying to find that balance of being aggressive and playing smart football, you need that, right? So get it out of the way now, find your balance, and move forward. Right now, the Cowboys are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th in the league in penalties. San Fran, guess what? They have the most, 51 penalties there, which they're playing aggressive.
Yeah.
And they're winning. I mean, not last night, but, they're winning. The point is they're winning. So I would rather see this Cowboys team have the high penalties now, and I never thought I would say this, guys. Oh my gosh. Wow. Who am I? I would rather have them have the high penalty count now to find that aggression, especially when your O-line is starting to gel together, be a little bit more cohesive, and go from there. Because if you're getting these penalties from just trying to find that tightrope to walk on, that's acceptable. It's not acceptable, the amount, and
the offsides is crazy.
all that's ridiculous and needs to be fixed, and they'll admit that to you. Guys will admit it, coaches will admit it. However, look, if they're trying to play aggressive, I'm not going to get upset at those penalties. You have my word, everybody. You don't have to take shots every time I talk about that.
Is there another area of focus aside from the penalties that you guys feel that this team should have focused on during the bye week? Again, we don't exactly know, won't find out exactly until tomorrow we hear from McCarthy. But is there an area you guys feel like should have been focused on?
No, I'm praying and fasting for more creativity and
praying and fasting is crazy.
Praying, fasting. Ask my grandma to put them on a prayer list.
I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
It's that serious. They like the bottom of the league in motion.
Yeah.
And it's honest. It's very frustrating. And again, this is why I said like reevaluation is okay, because it's frustrating because you look across the league and you look at the successful offenses, motion is evident. It's there. And so for our for our OCs and our gentlemen tonight to not try to put that into the offense consistently is frustrating. You can't play stagnant right now. Like right now they're playing teams straight up, basically, like lining up and like my guy's better than your guy. And baby, that's not always the case, honey. That's just not always the case. So for me, it's the creativity. We talked about the usage, but the creativity and the motion and the pre-snap stuff is just very important to me moving forward, because it's also going to make things easier for your receivers. It's going to make things, it should open up things for your offense if it's done correctly. And again, we've seen it before. So we know you can do it. So go ahead, stop playing these games and put it implement it into your offense consistently and see if you have some success.
Yeah. We, on the Players Lounge, we were talking about the last 6 weeks that they've played, who has impressed us the most and the least. And I need to change my answer for who has impressed me the most, because somebody on Twitter tweeted me. I was like, oh my God, that's a great answer. I said CD was my impressed me the most. I'm going to change it to Brandon Aubrey, because obviously, goat, Brandon Aubrey. No, and what I said that has unimpressed me, I guess.
It's okay, baby. It's okay, baby.
I'm really struggling.
It's still Monday, no worries.
Guys, I'm so tired. What has not impressed me the most was Mike McCarthy's play calling. And look, I'm not here talking smack about the guy. Like, I still believe you can have the same, two things can be the same. It was the right decision to let go of Kellen Moore, and Mike McCarthy needs to be better where he is right now with the play calling.
Say that.
I think both of those things can hold true. And you don't need to revert back to, oh, well, it should be this way or this way. No, I think things are where they are, and that's good. I think that's progression. And I think both things can all be equal and true, and they are. But what you see now is you need to see more of just... I don't want to see the conservative play calling anymore. Use your playmakers. We just talked about this, but use your guys, use your playmakers. Where are those special packages that we heard about with Deuce Vaughn and Hunter Lipke? Who's your red zone guy? You still don't know that? Nobody knows that yet.
It's looking like it's going to be 4, hell.
At this point, I mean, yeah, but don't run him just to run him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's still so many question marks this far and far. It's not that far in the season, but there's still a lot of question marks that I want to be exclamation points and not question marks as you continue after this bye, because you don't have a break anymore. Yeah. You're not going to get any healthier. This was your rest time. So you use it now and you establish it, or you don't. And I don't want to say where I think that could lead, but it could lead into something really disappointing for the amount of talent on this roster.
One thing I do hate is that it has taken this long. Not that it's too long into the season, because we're only heading into week 8, but then again, you're like, it's week 8. We only got to, we still have a lot of more ball left.
But it's
week 8. So that last week was 7. Bye week was 7.
Yeah, and it's like, 8. This is the time to realize...
It all starts to blend together. I think by like week 6, everything feels the same way. Like, you don't know what week it is anymore.
It does. But no, sorry. I think that I hate that it's taken so long to figure out what you have on this roster, because the time to have figured that out was during the off season. And so, but now again, the beauty of it, like you said, we still have a lot more ball left, and we still only have a few more minutes left in this show. So wait, we have to take a break real quick. We'll be right back here on Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, let me start that over one more time.
I'm sorry.
Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys in the SWBC studio. I'm sorry. Y'all,
Don't
I'm so
repeat
glad to
it.
be back.
Don't repeat it.
Glad to be back with y'all. Real quick, I mean, we only have a few minutes left on the show, ladies. Let's just go ahead and, oh, wait, before I do my job. This segment is presented by the 2024 PBR World Finals are taking over AT&T Stadium.
Yeehaw.
It all starts on May 17th with Kid Rock's Rock and Roll Rodeo. Then on May 18th and 19th, the finalists compete in the 2024 PBR Championship. Let's rock and ride. 3-day tickets are on sale now at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing partner of AT&T Stadium.
Did you say May?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so far away.
No,
That's
you
why
have
my
to buy
face was
tickets
like
for that
'cause
ahead of time.
Well, that's why my face was like that because I was like, May.
That's a big deal.
It feels so
PBR
far
is
away.
a really big deal.
It's going to be
Yeehaw.
right here right before you know it. Time is
Yeehaw.
on my fast.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. All right, real quick. Let's go ahead and go from each position and make a quick grade of where you feel these positions fall heading into this game.
I hate grading. I'm going to try my best.
If it makes you feel better, like, were you that person in high school that would, like, grade other people's paper and, like, try to change the answers? I was.
What?
If it was my
That was a
friend,
thing?
if it was my, yeah, like, you'd pass the paper to your neighbor, and then if it was my friend, I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna.
I remember that. It gave me anxiety.
Wow.
I know. I mean, it is probably cheating, but, like, it's fine.
Oh my goodness.
No one knows,
All
except
right,
now.
Let's start with Dak. Aisha, what you got?
At this point, he's had more good games. I give him a B- at this point.
B minus.
B minus.
All right. Running back room. Oh, I'd give Dak C plus B minus.
Yeah.
I want to see more from him.
C plus.
Yeah, I want to see it more on a consistent level.
Yeah.
Fair.
So it's like in between
Yeah.
C plus B minus range.
Yeah, if he takes some of what he did this past week and,
And keeps it,
sprinkle some of that into the game plan
Starting
every week,
line and take off.
we could be at a hard like B plus.
Running backs.
Woo.
You wanna take it away?
Sugar. I say they gonna have to get a C minus for me, and it's not even. I ain't even gonna hold them. It's not even totally their fault. It's a lot of the usage and the offensive line's not playing well. So let's just say C minus.
Yeah.
C. You haven't seen anything to give a better grade.
Nah,
That's true. I say
Go ahead, girl. Be honest.
C minus. I'm not gonna do it in boys like that. I'll say C minus.
Okay.
I'm gonna say C minus.
Yeah.
It's no shade to them.
Well, I
it's
was
no
gonna-
shade to them.
exactly,
They
we
just
just
haven't
haven't-
been productive.
Exactly.
And
Go ahead.
is it really anybody's fault at this point? Like, I know there's fault to go around. It's not just one person at fault.
Yeah.
So there you go. And there's other outside things that make it kind of hard.
Yeah. Receivers.
Baby,
B. I'm going B.
He's great.
I'm going B.
I say C plus,
Yeah.
and literally like.
Y'all are harsh graders.
I mean, it's the truth.
Well, because you're not getting
Nice
really
teacher.
nothing consistently from anyone except for CD. Again, if they consistently do some of the things they did with Cooks going into next week or whatever, but I could see it being better at that point. But right now, you're not consistently getting everything from these guys. So
Yeah. I'd say C plus, but they have the potential to be an A minus group.
yeah.
They have the potential to be an A minus
100%.
group. Once we see that, Lord, I can't even talk. Dad getting CD involved, B Cooks involved, Michael involved, even maybe Cavante, like you said earlier,
Tolbert.
like getting all those guys involved. Tolbert too.
Girl.
Yeah, I mean that room could be they could do so much damage.
It should be.
They should be doing a lot more damage.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the tight ends.
They get a D from me.
D.
And I appreciate them for what they're doing in the blocking game, but baby, that is not all you are here for. I think they've collectively dropped four TDs from your quarterback. Really good placed balls too. They just need to be more reliable for this offense right now, because you can see even defensively, defenses is like, who's it out there?
Yeah.
Let me just go bracket CD over here. I don't give a damn about anything y'all got going on down there. So with what I'm looking at is like, either you're gonna spam Ferg because he can beat press coverage. He can beat guys one-on-one. Either you spam Ferg or these other guys have to step up and be consistent, because they're hurting you right now. Not even just, they're even as decoys. Nobody care. Yeah. They don't even care.
Yeah, I'm going D. It's been disappointing. Yeah. D for disappointing. That's
you have to burn.
Excuse me.
I wasn't expecting D for disappointing. I wasn't expecting that.
That was a good one though.
It's true. It has been very disappointing, because you know what they're capable of doing. Yeah. You saw it at training camp.
It hurts.
You saw it at training camp. You saw it at OTAs. You saw it at minicamp. Where is it? Where has it been?
Yeah.
It's weird. Tight end involvement is not in the room with us. And again, I'm not faulting them for that. It goes back to a little bit of scheme, a little bit of play calling, and then a little bit of their own mistakes. But what I will say too is, I think we forget how young that room is. It's the youngest room in your offense, and you forget how young that room is. There's going to be growing pains with not having that veteran guy in Dalton Schultz, and I think you're feeling that a little bit more than expected. Yeah. So
I'd say D- as well.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, defensive line, go. I'm gonna say, I'll go ahead. I'll say C plus B minus in between that. Nah, I lied.
Fair.
I say B minus. I say B minus. I like what Jonathan Hankins and Osa are doing inside. D-Law, of course, Dante Fowler, all those guys. Even when you bring Micah up on that edge, I mean, those guys have been dominant. So I'm gonna give them a B minus. There's still a lot more, I guess, improvement that they can make as well.
Yeah, I think I need at least one more game from them of like consistent run stopping. Yeah. I do think they've been better in that department. Yeah. Just want them to play with more discipline. You know what I'm saying? Like with the offsides and some of the stuff happening there, like I would be about in that range as well, even though they're statistically one of the most dominant defensive lines in the league. We know what's up.
C, because they can be better than what they're being.
Fair.
And they can be more dominant.
Okay.
Period.
Fair.
Linebackers.
Lordy.
C minus.
Okay.
Only because you haven't really gotten a taste of what the linebacker room is without Leighton. You have 1 week of it. You have a longer time to go. You have at least 3 more weeks of it. And I worry about it. It's another young group, just like we're talking about the tight end room. I'm worried about the youth in it. They've been doing great. They've stepped up, but now's when it really matters. So we'll see.
I say C minus too. Just really looking for those guys to play more forward, more downhill, be a little bit more aggressive. And so, you know, for me, it's just looking at how they adjust moving forward, and the depth there has obviously hurt them. So I think they play well on the fly, but they can be better.
All right, I give them a C. I say C plus. Let's go safeties.
Oh, maybe they're getting a C plus too, low key, because they just, last game they played a lot better. But if you being real, like teams have been attacking your safety room. They've been attacking every safety that you have. I felt like they came out and played better last game, but with the big nickel and how DQ uses them, it seems to have been somewhat taking advantage of that. So for me, I expected for them to be better than what they've been in spots. Saw some good play from them last week, hoping they build upon that, because it hasn't been as good as it was last year for me.
Yeah, I'm saying C, and I only think it's that way because we forget Donovan Wilson didn't get any training camp.
And that's fair.
He didn't get any time to play. He was coming off that calf injury. They haven't had time to establish the rapport with him back in and kind of grow and build things. So I think your growing pains were these last few weeks, and hopefully things take off and get a little better than what it's been.
All right, corners real quick before we wrap up.
Given the circumstances and what they've been through, I would say they are getting a solid B from me. I would give them a solid B. Don't every DB struggles with deep crossers and all that stuff, and so I think they can get better in those departments. But I think they've come up and tackled well, and all things considered, even though they've given up some plays, I think they have calmed down some of the big plays in the last couple of weeks. So I think they're still trying to find some cohesiveness, but I'm cool with the DBs at this point in time. They've been all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I agree.
B minus.
I think B minus. B minus only. yeah, you didn't expect to have a season without Trayvon Diggs.
Fair.
That's a lot to adjust from when it's your playmaker, it's your top guy. That's a lot to come back from, and they've been very resilient. Deron Bland stepped up, anything but Bland. We know it. We love it.
I know it was coming.
I was going to say B for Bland, but,
It's not going to be a big game for Jordan Lewis coming back.
And again, another guy you're talking about injury-wise.
Trying to get his legs under him. Yeah, fair.
So, B.
All right. Well, that'll wrap things up right here for Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this,